Yeah, my clock just flipped over to 1, so I will go ahead and start. So welcome to the latest edition of WiLSWorld Shorts. This is actually our final WiLSWorld Shorts of 2022. My name's Emily Fotenhauer. My title at WiLS is Digital Strategist and Grants Manager, and I'm here just to kind of kick things off real quickly. And then you're going to be hearing from a bunch of different WiLSians throughout our time together this afternoon. We've got a whole bunch of the squad here. So this particular presentation grew out of a recognition that many of the libraries and cultural organizations that we work with in a particular way might not be aware of other services we offer that could help them get their work done in other areas. So we wanted to offer this opportunity that would kind of like connect the dots and highlight a few of the ways that WiLS services save our member communities time and money, and especially spotlighting some services you might not already know about. There will be time for questions at the end, but please also use the chat at any point during the presentations to ask questions. We will respond kind of as questions come in if there's time. If we don't get to them as they come in, then we'll make sure we come back to them at the end of the presentation. And then this session is being recorded, and the slides and the recording will be shared after today. So WiLS, which formally stands for Wisconsin Library Services, is a nonprofit. We work with libraries and cultural organizations like historical societies and museums, essentially to help them do what they need to get done within their budgets. Sometimes that's done through one-on-one services, direct services to an organization. And sometimes it happens by helping them, our members, collaborate with each other. And either way, we aim to save them time and money and get them access to the expertise that they need. And this is all tying back to our core mission, which is this. You can see it here on the screen. Our mission is we believe libraries, cultural institutions, and their partners make the world a better place. We build relationships and provide services so they can do more with their time and money. And we help our members turn ideas into action. Our WiLS community is large, and it's primarily, but not entirely, in Wisconsin. We have a total right now of 667 member organizations. That includes libraries of all types, university and college libraries, K-12 school libraries, public libraries and public library systems, and a few different kinds of specialized libraries, as well as cultural organizations like museums and historical societies. We also help manage several statewide consortia and one national one, along with other types of collaborations at the state, regional, and national levels. We work with a number of different partner organizations like DPI, WLA, ALA, IMLS, and DPLA, a whole bunch of acronyms. And we have formal vendor partnerships with over 100 vendors to bring our members valuable products and services at affordable prices and with minimal time investment. So we offer a bunch of different services, and many members take advantage of multiple services we offer. A nice example is Lakeshore Technical College. They do a lot of different things with us, different facets of their library. They participate in cooperative purchasing. They receive collaboration support through consortium management of the WiSPALS consortium. They're a 2022 recipient of an Ideas to Action Award, and they're just getting started on creating a digital archive through the Recollection Wisconsin consortium. And we're not going to cover all of these services today, but you can read all about them on our website or connect with any of us to find out more. So today we're going to focus on 3 of those particular services: collaboration support, consulting services, and cooperative purchasing. And to start it off, I'm going to turn it over to Andy Coffin and Kristen Whitson, and they're going to talk about WiLS collaboration support services and projects.
Thanks, Emily. I'm Andy Coffin, and I'm a communications and consortia manager with WiLS, and I provide support to a number of consortia and collaborations that we serve. Collaboration services are present in nearly everything that we do. Our previous tagline was expanding possibilities through collaboration. So while it's not our tagline anymore, it is still a really deeply held part of our ethos and very much embedded in our mission and our organizational values. We really do believe that you can do things better and do better things when you do them together. So today, my colleague Kristen Whitson and I are going to talk about how WiLS supports collaborations at national, regional, and statewide levels, what collaborations we're helping to facilitate now, and what specific services we provide to those collaborations that help them get done what they want to get done. The team for collaboration services is the whole team. Each WiLS member works in one way or another on supporting collaborative services among libraries and cultural organizations. Some of these people are project managers and consortia managers like me. Some are brought onto project teams as their expertise is needed on that particular project at that particular time. And some staff provide ongoing administrative support kind of behind the scenes. There are these on the screen here are several of the specific services we provide, and there are others that are kind of custom as projects need them. But these services help groups focus on their goals. So they can draw on their own expertise where it's best used and let us handle administrative details, financial details, facilitation, research, communications, those kind of things. And while we don't provide all of these services to every single collaboration that we manage, we provide many of them and just the ones that they need. So talking specifically about some of the projects that we provide these services to on national, regional, and statewide levels, what follows might sound like a bowl of alphabet soup, and I'm only providing kind of the high-level details of each of these consortium, but you can always learn more by visiting our website. Many of these collaborations have their own websites, or you can reach out to any of us at any time and we'll funnel your question to the correct person. So let's start on the national level. The Horticulture Library Consortium is a national collaboration that we support. It's a group of 10 horticulture organizations. These are gardens and arboretums and horticulture societies from New York to California that share an ebook collection that supports their own researchers, members, and staff. And this is a good example of a niche consortium that's more defined by a shared focus rather than a geographic area. And it's also a good example of how our services and our infrastructure can be useful to collaborations really of any type. So WiLS helps the Horticulture Library Consortium tend and grow their ebook collection. We're the primary liaison with the vendor that provides the ebook platform. And we're also their fiscal agent. We handle their financials with the vendor as well as membership fees and content purchases. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Kristen Whitson, to tell you about another national and a regional collaboration.
Thanks, Sandy. So I'm Kristen. I'm a digital project specialist here with WiLS, and here's a couple of national and regional projects that we've been working on. So another national level project for which WiLS has provided services is the IMLS, Accelerating Promising Practices project. So there starts the alphabet soup. In the fall of 2019, WiLS began a cooperative agreement with the Institute for Museum and Library Services, so IMLS, to mentor 2 consecutive cohorts of small, rural, and tribal libraries around the country who were all working on community memory projects. These libraries received grants in IMLS's Accelerating Promising Practices funding category, which is designed to build capacity at small libraries through participation in a community of practice, which you'll hear us talk more about that too. For 2 years per cohort, WiLS team members have mentored and supported cohort members as they take on oral history initiatives, community digitization events, and other projects to document and share their unique local stories. So WiLS provides services such as meeting management, both virtual and in person, training, research and data, and grant administration. And then zooming out a little bit to a regional, zooming into a regional level project, WiLS has played a similar role in the ALA Libraries Transforming Communities Upper Midwest Regional Hub. So this hub was made up of about 50 participating libraries from Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana. And we explored relevant topics and navigated shared challenges together. These hub members were libraries that had been awarded grants from ALA to support community engagement, particularly on challenging topics in their small and/or rural communities around the Upper Midwest. So WiLS provided meeting management, training, mentorship, educational resources, and relationship building among these Upper Midwest libraries who were navigating their Libraries Transforming Communities programs.
Thanks, Kristen. So because the bulk of our members are in the state of Wisconsin, it's probably not surprising that most of our collaborations that we support are also in Wisconsin. And we are proud to provide consortia and collaboration management to these groups here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one. WPLC is the Wisconsin Public Library Consortium. It's made up of all the public library systems in the state and their member libraries. And they work on a whole bunch of projects together, but the most visible is Wisconsin's Digital Library, which is an overdrive-based public library collection of over 120,000 ebooks, digital audiobooks, and magazines. It's free for all Wisconsin public library card holders. And this year already has circulated over 7 million titles. So this large consortium has a board and multiple steering committees for all its main projects, as well as several other committees that oversee operations, governance, new service exploration, promotion, and more. WiLS provides meeting and project management for all those governing bodies, as well as financial services and research, and acts as the primary liaison with Overdrive. WSDLC is the Wisconsin Schools Digital Library Consortium. It's made up of K-12 schools and districts who also share a Overdrive-hosted library of ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, and comics. These titles, there are 52,000 copies of them, are placed in distinct collections by grade levels for elementary, middle, and high school students. This allows library media specialists to choose which collections they subscribe to. Participation in the consortium and access to the libraries is affordable at $1.60 per student. The consortium began just 4 years ago and currently supports over 320,000 students from 235 public K-12 districts and private schools in the state. And that represents a third of all school-aged children in Wisconsin. WiLS provides governance support to the WSDLC board and selection advisory committee. We also provide support in collection development, fiscal agency, training, and outreach for the consortium. WisPals is a consortium of 11 Wisconsin Technical College libraries that share an ILS, an integrated library system. This is the consortium's primary purpose, but they also share information between them, including best practices, materials they've created for various reasons so they can reuse and reference them, as well as challenges around issues that are common to their type of library, to technical college libraries. WisPals recently onboarded a brand new member, and they do work on projects together beyond the working on the ILS. They did a recent project where they surveyed faculty by a different program area to understand how the library can improve service to faculty and students. And to WisPals, WiLS provides centralized ILS administration, training, management for the governing bodies, and meetings, research, communication support, specialized cooperative purchasing service, and fiscal agency. WisCal is the Wisconsin Shared Collection for Academic Libraries. It's also an Overdrive collection of over 1,400 ebooks and digital audiobooks shared by 11 Wisconsin academic libraries from private, public, and technical colleges. We coordinate shared purchasing for this library. We handle invoicing and payment, and we also, again, act as liaison with Overdrive. The City Library Collective is a relatively new group. This formed in 2021 and brings together libraries across the state, public libraries that serve mid-sized communities from 30,000 to 100,000. Currently, there are 11 CLC members, and they're working together to address common issues and share information with one another to improve their organizations and service to their communities. Recently, the CLC developed and published the Library Resilience Toolkit, which you can find on their website. And that helps other public libraries integrate social work concepts into their own organizations. WiLS helps facilitate their work through project and meeting management, research, as well as communication. And I'm now going to turn it back over to Kristen to talk about Recollection Wisconsin and the digital readiness community of practice.
Thanks, Sandy. So a couple of more consortia to talk about. Recollection Wisconsin, which many of you I'm sure have heard of, is a program, it's a collection, and it's a consortium that brings together digital cultural heritage resources from Wisconsin libraries, archives, museums, and historical societies, and shares them with the world in partnership with the Digital Public Library of America, or DPLA. So Recollection Wisconsin staff provide guidance, training, and consulting for the many facets of digital history projects, including planning, selection, reformatting, metadata application, online access, and preservation. The consortium is administered by WiLS and managed by 6 governing partners. Recollection Wisconsin has over 260 content partners around the state, which are cultural heritage organizations of various sizes from, ooh, my light just turned off, from the smallest local historical societies all the way up to University of Wisconsin campuses. And all of those content partners share their digital history content through Recollection Wisconsin. And because Recollection Wisconsin is managed by WiLS, we get to make the best use of WiLS' wide expertise in so many areas: strategic planning for the consortium by our strategic planning team, evaluation or data collection services from our consulting team, and you're going to hear more about both of those, or research services within the collections for outside organizations such as PBS Wisconsin. So Recollection Wisconsin serves as a gathering place, a hub, for Wisconsin's digital cultural heritage materials as part of a nationwide network of similar hubs in most states through the DPLA, which situates our cultural heritage materials alongside digital materials from the Smithsonian institutions and the Library of Congress. And as we assist content partners in coming online and digitizing their materials, we facilitate relationships between those cultural heritage organizations around the state, which brings us to the digital readiness community of practice. Beginning in 2019, WiLS partnered with Recollection Wisconsin and the Wisconsin Historical Society on a community-driven initiative to build digital readiness in Wisconsin local historical societies and historic preservation groups. The statewide digital readiness community of practice aims to improve access to historical records in small and under-resourced repositories by building local history practitioners' capacity to create, manage, and share digitized historical resources. And from 2019 to 2021, this work was supported by planning and implementation grants from another acronym, NHPRC, the National Historical Records, Publications and Records Commission, which is the granting arm of the National Archives. But although the grants may have ended, the work is not over. We're continuing to grow the community of practice through virtual gatherings, information sharing, and other activities. One quick example of the work that WiLS project managers contributed to this project is the Digital Readiness Toolkit, which some of you I see here helped us put together. The toolkit, which was released in June 2022, is a complete guide to creating and tending a digital collection for organizations of any size and experience level. And this is just one example of the kind of expertise that WiLS is glad to share with cultural heritage organizations. So that is a lot. That is a lot of collaboration information. So as you can see, we provide a variety of services to lots of different groups who are collaborating on a lot of different things. Again, if you have any questions about these projects, we'll leave some time at the end. You can visit our website at wils.org, or please feel free to reach out to any of us to get your questions answered. So finally, with that, I am pleased to turn this over to my colleague, Melissa McClymans, to tell you about WiLS Consulting Services.
Thanks, Kristen. Really appreciate it. Happy Friday, everyone. It's great to be here. As Kristen said, my name is Melissa McClymans, and I am a library strategist and consultant at WiLS. And I'm going to give just a general overview of our consulting services and then pass it on to a couple other experts on staff. So WiLS consulting services often focus on process facilitation and bringing groups together to solve problems, figure out paths forward, or answer questions. Sometimes those groups come from across the state. Sometimes they come from across library systems, sometimes just across a single library or one community. Sometimes the process is focused on large-scale change. Other times it's a long-term plan. And while some of our methods and tools have changed over the years, our underlying philosophy has remained relatively stable and unchanged. And it's that community voices are important to any process, whatever that process might be and whatever the community is. We also have a philosophy that data and reliable information can help our partners make strong decisions that they can back up, and that our members and partners deserve high quality consulting work at an affordable price. And finally, we always have the best interest of our project partners centered in our work. So in a nutshell, you can see on screen, we're project management and process development pros who listen to your needs to create a reliable process, whether it's strategic planning, survey development, or it's an idea you've had for a long time, but you just don't know where to start. So while many WiLSians support, yes, we're called WiLSians, by the way. Many WiLSians support the consulting team. We often bring in specific people with specific skills for specific projects. This is the core team that you're seeing on screen today. You'll hear from Laura and Kim in just a moment, but I do want to point out Kristen, who you just heard share a bunch about collaboration services. Kristen is one of our newest members on the consulting team. There she is. She just started really working with libraries, historical societies, and more on archives consulting, which is a need that we've definitely heard and seen a lot more throughout our community in the last couple of years. So as a team, we have consulted on large scale, longer term processes with regional and statewide implications. So for example, a few years back, we were the project managers for the public library system redesign, which was truly from, across the state. Hundreds of people were involved in that process. We were facilitators of the successful merger of Arrowhead Library System and Lakeshore Library System, who just recently formed the Prairie Lakes Library System, which is incredibly exciting. And we led the evaluation of the state of Wisconsin's 5-year LSTA plan and helped facilitate the creation of the state's next 5-year plan. But possibly one of our best known consulting services is strategic planning. So we've worked with over 60 libraries and many library systems to develop achievable and meaningful strategic plans that help organizations make decisions about resource allocation, service priorities, and to help them be prepared when opportunities or challenges arise. While many of our strategic planning processes have been with public libraries, we think that the process is fully adaptable for most organizations, and as our philosophy is always applicable as well. Much of our project work, strategic planning work, has been one-on-one projects, but we also do have a small library strategic planning cohort crafted to make sure even the smallest library in Wisconsin has access to an affordable strategic plan. We see so much value in bringing together our community members to learn together and accomplish big things. Now, not all consulting is as easy to define as strategic planning. So I'm going to pass the presentation over to my colleague, Laura Damon-Moore, to share a bit more about consulting, where and how you need us. But right before I do that, I do want to just share that one of the most amazing things about the work that we do, and we really do think that we're lucky, is that we get to know our members and their communities in really special ways. I think I speak for our whole team when I say we learn something new from every library, from every organization, and from every community that we cross paths with. And we feel really so fortunate to do this work. Okay, so with that, I will pass it over to Laura.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and hello, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Laura Damon-Moore, and I work with my fantastic colleagues on the consulting team. So as Melissa mentioned, sometimes we find that member organizations' needs don't necessarily fit tidily into a process that we have sort of ready to go. So all of our processes, of course, are sort of customized based on what the organization is looking for, but some we do a little more co-designing upfront with the member organization. So in that case, we really like to have a detailed conversation with that member where we talk about their goals for their process and brainstorm with them a little bit about what feels like a good fit for them. So there's a loose co-design process that we do to arrive at a process that we feel like we can facilitate and that also feels really doable and good to the director or whomever on staff we are working with. So a couple of specific examples of these co-designed or more customized projects include a staffing horizon report that Platteville Public Library worked with us on. So in this process, we partnered closely with the library director and other administrators there to do a set of staff engagement exercises, some that WiLS facilitated, and then some that were facilitated by the library leadership team at a staff development day. So the outcome of that project was a staffing plan that helped to organize future staffing into different horizons over the course of 5 to 10 years. So sort of strategic planning around staffing, but it was its own distinct thing, and it ended up, sort of looking different from many other processes that we've done, which was really cool. We do staff in-service days. So we've offered these now with a couple of different libraries or library systems. Again, starting off with an informal co-design process to make sure that what we're offering suits the needs of the organization that we're working with. So some activities that we've done in this setting include team building activities. So if people don't know each other as well, we do some team building, prioritization work, team asset mapping, and community asset mapping work. And then one thing that Melissa and I actually just came back from one of these is what we have been calling phase 0 of planning. So this is a subset of the staff in-service activities that we've started to do with some organizations. So it's basically a planning to plan session with library and sometimes library system staff, depending on who we're working with. So in this kind of session, we have a conversation with the staff about planning and or really any kind of group project. So things that they've had experience with in the past, as well as community voices and stakeholders that they think are really important to hear from to direct the library's strategic planning process. So the goal is to develop a set of considerations and action items for a proposed strategic planning process. So we're like doing some of the planning to plan in advance with staff. And we've really had a lot of fun with the couple of times that we've done this phase 0 activity. So in short, if you have something that you're chewing on, please just reach out to us and we will work with you, ask some questions to figure out some options for you to make it happen. So now my other consulting team colleague, Kim, is going to talk a little bit about our data and research services. So I'll turn it over to her.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa and Laura. I work on the consulting team, as mentioned, as a data analyst. And so I come in on a variety of the projects that have just been mentioned, but we also offer some separate research and data services that kind of fall into 4 buckets that I'll be talking with you all about here briefly. So as we talked about a moment ago, strategic planning is one of WiLS' key consulting services and involves options for a variety of extensive data collection activities as a part of that process. Outside of that process, WiLS offers a variety of standalone research and data-related services that can range from including assistance with program evaluation and assessment efforts, custom data collection support, design facilitation, and/or analysis, as well as training and workshop facilitation on research and data-related topics in relation to libraries and cultural organizations. So it might be a little bit helpful here if I talk about my background and approach, since I don't come from the library world, but have been fortunate enough over the last going on 3 years to work primarily with libraries across the state of Wisconsin, where I've learned a lot and enjoy the work extensively. But my academic background is actually in the social sciences, in sociology and anthropology. And this background prepared me with a wide range of research and data skills falling into both the quantitative, so think statistics and like kind of traditional data analysis type work, as well as qualitative realms. And when I say qualitative, think, interviews, focus groups, things of that nature. Professionally, I worked in academia for a decade as a faculty member, primarily in the community and technical college realm. So I have a special soft spot for academic libraries, especially ones at community and technical colleges. And then I slowly transitioned into consulting full-time over another essentially 10 years. So my approach when it comes to my work, whether it be teaching or consulting, has always been very user-centered. So in other words, I focus on, and I know my consulting partners do as well, on where our partners, clients, participants are at and what their needs and challenges and their desired outcomes are versus a more kind of top-down approach. So in consulting, this looks like very collaborative approaches, as we've touched on, both Melissa and Laura, that are very inclusive in nature and ensure that the final result of whatever you do with us at WiLS have deliverables that feel usable, understandable, and meaningful to what your specific needs are anytime we partner on a project. So the four kind of buckets of areas that fall under research and data services that we can work with people on across the state as well as regionally and nationally are evaluation and assessment services, custom data collection services, research services, as well as data related trainings and workshops. And some of these definitely overlap with what Melissa and Laura just touched on. So the first area WiLS can provide support on in this realm is with program evaluation and assessment. And this can range from more formal evaluation and assessment efforts, think expectations that might be associated with grant funding streams from the state or federal entities, as well as more informal assessment plans that are localized to individual libraries' needs. Think library programming, things like that. So a few examples of projects that we've done that have fallen into this realm include on a large scale, the LSTA 5-year plan evaluation for the state of Wisconsin. So this process involved a large variety of stakeholders and hundreds of research participants in different phases of that endeavor, which also ultimately led into the writing of the new 5-year plan, which Laura and Melissa took the lead on there. On a slightly smaller scale, we've also done collective assessment projects that involve bringing together a number of organizations working on the same grant-funded project. So we did this over the last year with a collective known as the City Library Collective. They received ARPA grant funding, and WiLS helped with the assessment and evaluation aspect of that project. And that involved, I think, 11 or 12 libraries who are partnering together on a single grant. And on a more localized level, WiLS has helped individual libraries with more customized programming assessment at the local level for an individual library. So we assisted a public library in Wisconsin, just as one example, that had a new STEAM endeavor in their makerspace that was grant funded, and they contracted with WiLS to do a customized project locally to help them with assessment of that particular program as they are working on growing that over the next few years. The next bucket of research and data services that WiLS offers is custom data collection, design, facilitation, and or analysis services. This can be a total catch-all for wherever you're at. If you have data and you're like, I need it, or I have it and I don't know what to do with it, we can help absolutely. So some examples of work that fall into this bucket, we've done probably most popularly a number of custom survey projects for individual libraries and public library systems as well. And so we've done these to help libraries utilize gathering data for a variety of needs. So just a couple examples there. We did a community survey for a public library that was doing space planning in support of a referendum. And so they used the data that we gathered from that endeavor to help them plan for messaging around the referendum and, you know, what the community might think and what might be the factors that would be most meaningful to them in getting support for the referendum. We also worked with a public library system in Wisconsin to do some digital service planning. That was another community survey that went out broadly to a large service area to help them prioritize system funding of different kind of digital and electronic resources. Another area that falls into this bucket is our newly launched data dashboard service. So we now have available a public library dashboard that's composed of both demographic data as well as annual report data with some special customized cohort comparisons to help with benchmarking and making meaningful comparisons. And in addition, we've done a little bit of custom dashboarding work for some of the collaborative work that was mentioned earlier. So WiSPals is an example of one of the consortia that we work with that I've done a little dashboarding work there for them. A third area that we can assist in is research services, and this is where there is a lot of crossover with the different kind of custom projects that Melissa, Laura, and I can work on. So we've designed, facilitated, and or collaborated on a number of local, regional, and or statewide research-oriented projects at this point in time. Some examples of that work during the pandemic, we did a report on overdrive data. Melissa and I for DPI worked on a demographics in libraries report that lives on their website as a resource for libraries. And currently we're partnering on a number of research projects that are funded through LSTA monies. And this includes research on kind of the broader landscape of data use across the state of Wisconsin in public libraries, board engagement research, as well as some system generated research projects that we're partners on. The final bucket of data and research services are curated training and workshop facilitations that focus on research or data oriented topics. So I have offered these to a few different groups. I worked with DPI on the Wisconsin Libraries Thriving Community. I think I just butchered it, WLTC acronym. I've also done localized projects at individual libraries offering different types of data training, ranging from a webinar one day to custom series of data related trainings for public library staff. And we've also been fortunate enough to be invited and or have accepted a number of conference presentations that we've done across the state, including WLA. I know we've probably seen some of y'all there, and iSchool, Lead the Way symposiums and things of that nature. So if you have research or data questions, we definitely have you covered, and never hesitate to reach out, even if it's not something that feels like it neatly fits into these buckets. All of us love the challenge of working on something new and finding ways to meet your needs from a consulting standpoint there. So I'm going to pass the baton now to cooperative purchasing and Jeff, and I appreciate having the opportunity to speak with y'all about consulting.
Thank you, Kim. Hi, my name is Jeff Bruner, and I'm going to be talking to you about cooperative purchasing. So WiLS Cooperative Purchasing Service is almost as old as WiLS itself. It was one of the first services we offered and one of the only ones that persisted through the 2013 reorganization of WiLS. What began as kind of a modest undertaking to save money for members on CD-ROM reference databases has grown into a huge undertaking encompassing, as was mentioned earlier, encompassing more than 100 vendor partners and nearly 500 participating organizations. As one of the older and more complicated service areas at WiLS, it takes a big team to run cooperative purchasing. Like I said, my name is Jeff, and I work mainly with our academic library and K-12 library members, in addition to being the services manager. Andy Coffin works with the WiSPals consortium that she talked about a little bit earlier on their cooperative purchasing service needs. She's also involved in the team's communication and other website presence. Sarah Gold works with all of our public library members and heads up our new business development initiative. Lisa Martin is our financial coordinator, so she's deeply involved in paying our vendor partners and billing the members and everything else financial. And Rebecca Rosensteel is part of the WiLS admin team. She helps out in lots of areas in the co-op service, like updating our licenses, gathering member FTE data, and even editing our vendor demo videos. Oh, and our Taco Tuesday videos, which I'll talk about in a minute. Nick Smith works closely, it works in all areas of the service, from requesting prices, delivering orders, managing communications, and lots more. I could go on and on about everything that everybody does, but I've got a lot more to say, so I'm just going to leave it at that. The bedrock of the cooperative purchasing service is our ability to build relationships with all sorts of vendors in the industry, from journal publishers to database aggregators to ebook platforms to furniture manufacturers. WiLS seeks out best vendors in the library space and develops positive, mutually beneficial partnerships. Our vendors love working with us because we help them reach a larger audience for their products and streamline the order management and invoicing processes for them. In exchange for this, we negotiate for the best discounts possible so that our members can get the resources and products that they need at prices they can afford. In addition to getting discounted prices at the beginning of a new subscription, WiLS also works hard to keep annual price increases as low as possible. We have agreement documents with all of our vendor partners that define what we would consider to be a reasonable annual increase on their resources. So even if you've got resources that you order directly from vendors now, it might be advantageous to bring them over to WiLS for that reason. Even if we can't get a discount on your first year of bringing the resource over to WiLS, we'll likely be able to save you money in the long run on those subsequent year renewals, because our increases year over year will probably be lower than you're going to be able to get directly from the vendor. WiLS works with our vendor partners in two different ways. The first of these is what we call order through WiLS. So in that scenario, WiLS negotiates discounted pricing on a product for a member. And if the member wishes to order it, WiLS will bill the member and then pay the vendor. So the order flows through WiLS. A good example of that kind of relationship is our partnership with ProQuest. Every year, WiLS handles over 500 transactions on behalf of members with all types of, on behalf of members of all types on all kinds of ProQuest resources, including ebook collections, best-in-class databases, streaming video, and more. All of those are at discounted prices available only to WiLS members. The other mode of partnership with our vendor partners is what we call order direct. So in an order direct relationship, WiLS has pre-negotiated discounts on products that our members can obtain directly from the vendor. So a member just needs to identify themselves as a WiLS member, and they will be able to receive discounts on all sorts of things that they buy directly from that seller. A good example of that kind of relationship is Demco. You probably all know the name Demco. They're an industry leader in providing library products, supplies, furniture, and more. Institutions get a flat discount on virtually everything in their catalog just because they participate in our cooperative purchasing service. So helping our members to find the resources they need is another critical part of the service that we offer. So we do that in a couple of different ways. WiLS recently updated our website to include a massive, comprehensive catalog of all of our vendors and many of the products they offer. The catalog can be sorted by subject, resource type, and even by library type. And if you're looking for something that you don't see there, our contact information is right there. You can easily reach out to us. If it's a vendor that we already have a relationship, it's as simple as requesting a price. But we love learning about potential new partnerships as well, which brings me back to one of the names I mentioned earlier, Sarah Gold. Sarah is spearheading our new business development. And part of that is keeping a close eye on the landscape of products and services for libraries so that we can help MyWiLS subscribers and, MyWiLS subscribers, an internal term, cooperative purchasing service users discover new products for their organization. One of the ways that the Co-op team helps members learn about new resources for their patrons is by co-hosting demo webinars. We'll regularly hold sessions where a vendor partner can show off the latest and greatest products in their catalogs. And we also hold a session called Taco Tuesday on the first Tuesday of every month. In that popular series, we bring on 4 vendor partners, each of which will take a 15-minute slot to show off something new and cool that they're excited about. We're even hosting the next one next Tuesday. So there's still time to sign up for that. It really is a good time, and it's a great way to learn a lot about something in a short amount of time. And it happens over lunch. One of the great benefits of participating in the WiLS Cooperative Purchasing Service is subscription management. From product discovery to price negotiation, to invoicing, to promotion, to training and renewals, WiLS can help with every step of providing e-resources to your patrons. One of the ways we do that is through our innovative, homegrown management portal, MyWiLS. Through MyWiLS, members can make their purchasing decisions, designate their billing preferences, track their order history, and even update their institutional and contact information. It's the fastest and best way to manage all of your WiLS resources. Once you found a resource, so if you're using our new product catalog, for instance, once you found a resource that you're interested in, you're only one click away from a simple form to request a quote for that resource. A member of our team will pick up the request, contact the vendor, and get a quote into WiLS for your approval ASAP. From there, it's just a matter of approving it and setting your billing preferences, and WiLS takes it from there. WiLS also helps several school districts and public library systems manage their total e-resource catalog. We can coordinate the whole process of getting quotes, manage the renewal timeline, and even consolidate billing for your whole district or system. An example of that kind of management is the South Central Library System. Every year, WiLS manages almost 300 subscriptions just for SCLS libraries. We coordinate price quotes, negotiate pricing, and even align start and renewal dates to make the process as smooth as possible for a large and complex library system. Finally, in addition to making it easier to afford the resources you need, WiLS can make it also easy. WiLS also makes it easy to pay for the resources. You can pay for these kinds of things on a schedule that works for you and in a way that works for you. So I've got a couple of examples of what I mean by that. Many of our members find it convenient to pay for all of their WiLS resources on a single invoice once per year. Even if the products you're getting through WiLS renew at different times of the year, you could get a single annual invoice for them at the best time of year for you. We'll pay the vendor on their schedule and invoice you on yours. WiLS can even break invoices down into separate parts so that different units or departments can pay their share. We have a lot of flexibility in how we bill, more flexibility than the vendors themselves usually will have. So that's another little advantage of working through WiLS. We can set up a deposit account for any member. These accounts allow you to put money on deposit with WiLS to be spent on a purchase at some future date. So that could be year-end money that you need to hold over into another fiscal year, or just a convenient way to get a single invoice to cover any planned or even unplanned or potential future purchases that you might do through WiLS. And WiLS can even pay invoices for things that you don't buy through us. Some members find it convenient to route all of their invoices to WiLS, whether or not they're actually WiLS purchases. Then the library can get a single invoice for WiLS to cover all of those bills or debit them from a deposit account, like I mentioned earlier. In short, WiLS is here to help our members with all of their e-resource and library product purchasing needs. Please don't hesitate to reach out to any of the people I mentioned earlier, or really anyone at WiLS. That's probably true of all of the services talked about today. If you reach out to any WiLSian, they will definitely get you to the right person. And the co-op team will always be happy to learn more about what we need, what you need, and how we can help. So thanks a lot for listening. And I think I'm turning it back over to Emily.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. And thank you, everybody on the WiLS crew. You all have a perfect sense of timing because this is we are exactly on time. So we have the rest of the hour to take questions. If anyone has questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask out loud or ask in chat. Thank you, Ashley, for your comment in chat. You're welcome to contact any of us either directly or at our general email, which is information@wils.org anytime. And yeah, we'll be here for the next few minutes if anyone has questions for any of us. I see Tracy is raising her hand. Do you want to, you can either turn on your mic or
Yes. Hi, Emily. This is Tracy from Nicolay, and I just have a question about the cooperative purchasing. That the link to go into WiLS, is that for the individual libraries to go in and enter a request for cooperative purchasing? And if so, I'm also wondering if there's a channel, if we are wanting to pursue something for a cooperative purchasing system, on a library system wide method.
Sure. Both of those are possible. So each library will likely have its own account in WiLS so that individual libraries can purchase resources through WiLS. So when you log into, if you have a WiLS login and you're logging in, it's probably set to the library level for the library that you work at. But we also do or have the potential to do system-wide purchases as well. So off the top of my head, I guess I can't say for sure about your system if we've got anything going now, but we will happily help look at the kinds of things that you might be thinking about buying at a system-wide level and see if we can get a deal in place, or if only a subset of the libraries wanted it. You know, we have a lot of flexibility, I guess is what I'm saying. Does that answer your question, Tracy?
Yeah, I think so. I was just wondering, so I could just send my request in via email to one of you about a system-wide purchases rather than going through WiLS, right? WiLS is more for individual libraries. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yes, sort of.
I mean, the order, I'm thinking about the part where you said you go in and just order, put your request in, and then, okay.
Yeah, so you can, I think probably for like a system-wide purchase, the fastest and easiest thing would be to email us.
Perfect.
And we actually do have a centralized email address, which I guess I should have put into my slides, which is coop, COOP, @wils.org. Oh, Andy just put it in chat. The whole team has access to that. So that might be a question that is definitely a question that we can answer via email. And then we might find out that it makes sense to have the system have an account in WiLS, and then you could,
Got it.
you know, we can explore the best way to do that for you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
So Jeff, we had another co-op question come up in chat, and I think Andy answered it already in chat, but just in case you had anything to add, Carrie said she didn't know about the Demco discount. On our website, it says the discount runs through the end of December 2022, but will it be renewed for 2023?
Great question. I have no reason to think that it won't be. I don't think I don't think we officially have a new contract from them yet, but it's been going on for a long time, and I don't have any reason to think that it won't be. So if you want to buy something before the end of the year, by all means, go ahead. You will already be able to because you're a WiLS cooperative purchasing member. But if you're thinking about something in 2023, I would think we would have the new kind of discount code and things in place shortly after the new year.
Which is just weeks away, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And thank you, Nancy, for the comment about the ease of the WiLS portal for database renewals. That would be great if you can add a 5th renewal. Any other questions? I'm looking at the chat. I don't think I'm seeing any more. Anyone else have any questions for Jeff or anyone else? All right, well, I think we can wrap up unless anybody had anything else they wanted to add. All right, well, we'll let you all get on your way and have a good rest of your Friday and a great weekend. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.